Good evening, everyone. My name is Ramana Priya Natarajan. The topic that I've chosen, the company that I've chosen is MAC Cosmetics. I'm pretty much sure like everyone here must be knowing MAC Cosmetics. Let me go to the next slide. So MAC Cosmetics is the leading and the most preferred makeup brand for dark skin. They also took a little stat where people were voting for different kind of makeup products. And most people that had a dark skin actually ordered for MAC Cosmetics. And MAC Cosmetics also ranks like top 3 makeup brands in the world. And the current annual turnover is $1 billion. And MAC Cosmetics has a lot of Facebook and Instagram followers. So close to 1.7 million Facebook followers and so many Instagram followers are there. They also have 100 stores across the world, and they've collaborated with Amazon, YouTube, and many other makeup brands. So if you go to YouTube, you can see tons and tons of videos about MAC Cosmetics, and many people actually recommend MAC Cosmetics because they have different types of makeup. For example, if see like I'm pregnant and I can actually wear a type of MAC brand, I mean a type in makeup, MAC Cosmetics, which actually is not harmful for me or for the baby. So like that, they have different choices for different types of people. I think they also have a vegan and things like that. So it's a very, very popular brand and it's really worth trying. Okay, let me go to the next slide. All right, so MAC Cosmetics, they want to leverage cloud computing as they don't have to invest huge money on infrastructure, platform, and software. So as of now, their primary focus is basically business. But looks like, as of now, they're focusing more on other things like IT, infrastructure, which is not their bread and butter. So they are seriously thinking about migrating to cloud so that their primary focus and the money that they have, they actually want to spend more on researching on different types of makeups and products. And Mac is also leveraging augmented reality technology and is also turning its e-commerce into social event. They're also giving some options like you can just see it online. You can put the makeup. I mean, you can say specifications on online, and you can just put on makeup and see how it will suit your skin. So such kinds of things, basically the technology part, they don't want to take it up, but they want to do more and more research and come up with more products. So for that, they feel number one is cloud computing will save a lot of money and time for them. Number two is cloud computing can also help them on many other ways, like for example, uh, they don't have to focus on procurement, they don't have to focus on licenses and things like that. Okay, let me go to the next slide. So this is the MAC Cosmetics cloud team that we have chosen because we actually have a cloud team already in MAC Cosmetics, and this is the team that's going to be exclusively working on this migration. We have a technical team versus non-technical team. So the technical team is basically going to do the actual migration as such, and the non-technical team is probably the ones that's going to approve it, give a sign off, and things like that. So our technical team is going to be a cloud security specialist, cloud architect or solutions architect, a cloud developer, and an IT director. And a non-technical team is going to be like chief technology and information officer. They need to approve all our decisions, and compliance specialist for legal and compliance related stuff. So your cloud security specialist, we all know, like, they know in and out of security and anything related to cloud, they should be pretty much aware of it. And the cloud architect and solutions architect, they know the system in and out. They can provide solutions when we actually need one. And the cloud developer is actually those that can develop code base and do the migration, the real migration. And the IT director, so basically overall an IT director to oversee things and make sure things are the team is led in the right direction. So this is our team, and once the team actually comes up with a plan and an idea, then we will reach out to the Chief Technology and Information Officer for different kinds of approval. I'll go to the next slide. So let me bring MAC Cosmetics business case here. So why do we really want to migrate to cloud? I mean, everyone talks about cloud. What is the business case that we have here to move on to cloud? So number one reason is reduction of cost. So currently MAC Cosmetics is spending a lot of time on infrastructure, maintenance, which in turn needs a lot of resources. So this cost is like going overboard. So what they're thinking is probably if they reduce this cost, they can probably leverage that money on their makeup products. So that's number one reason to save cost. They can do two things. One is probably like by reducing the cost, maintenance, licenses and things like that, they can actually spend more effort and time on their makeup brands. Their makeup products, I'm sorry. So the next one is improved system performance. So in cloud, many softwares are like automatically upgraded, it's up to date. So they don't have to keep on, like the software team of MAC Cosmetics need not have to do it all the time. They can actually offload it to the cloud team. They can actually offload it onto cloud, maybe to the provider, and they will be upgrading the software as and when it's needed. And the next one is focus more on business over IT. As of now, when you have an IT in your office, right? For example, I work with American Express and I work for the IT department. But sometimes, people even have a doubt if it's an IT company because that much of technology we actually do at Amex. So, but MAC Cosmetics wants to specifically focus more on their business over IT. So, and the other one is remote self-service. We all know, like in cloud, we can do pretty much to remote self-service. So, and then the next one is upgraded technology. So once you're actually improving your system performance with upgraded software and things like that, pretty much you need to have an upgraded technology, and you will be in par with the other companies that are leveraging Google provider or whatever provider that you choose, which means mostly whatever latest technologies that the other companies are using, you're also going to be in par with them. Okay, let me go. So this is about the business case. So let me go to the next slide now. So enterprise cloud strategy. So we have chosen Google provider as our provider. There are so many reasons we chose Google provider. So the number one reason is actually they have better pricing options and they have better packages. And number two is we have a lot of big data applications. So Google is known for supporting big data applications, and it's probably one of the leading providers when it comes to big data. And number three is compared to AWS and Azure, they do not support both structural as well as relational databases, but Google does. So that's another reason we chose Google provider. And also Google has a feature of live migration, which was very, very impressive for us. So these are the reasons basically we chose Google provider. So let me go to the next slide. So cloud deployment model. So we have chosen, there are different types of cloud deployment models like we know. One is like private on-site, private outsourced, and one is public and one is hybrid. So of this, we have chosen private outsourced for MAC Cosmetics. This is because we have a very high volume data and we do not have like tight latency needs. And also MAC Cosmetics, they actually do not want the hassle of maintaining their whole cloud infrastructure. For example, there are options, different kinds of options. But when it comes to MAC Cosmetics, we want to make sure we don't want to maintain the whole thing. Okay, so basically we want to outsource it. And the next one is the security in private and private on-site and private outsource were very impressive for us, because these are the two high-level security providing models, and these two, like the security pattern is very, very similar. So we decided to go for private outsourced. Let me go to the next slide. So cloud service model. So there are different types of cloud service model that we also learned in class. So we learned like software as service, platform as service, and infrastructure as service. So in here, we have decided to go for SaaS. The reason is the focus is still the application layer level with little support from their IT. And the other one is we want provider manage infrastructure and platform. So we don't want to have the headache of infrastructure management and platform management, because as I told you earlier, we want to save money on infrastructure, platform, and the hassle of recruiting people who are competent enough in technology and things like that. So because we are going to offload that part, we just don't want the infrastructure and other hassle in here. And the next one is SaaS is very easy to integrate, and we also have an upgraded software. And for SaaS, right, like we can leverage SaaS offerings for modeling sector and supply chain management. So we thought this is more ideal for our business. Okay, let me go to the next slide. So cloud application service. So we have different types of services in here. So there are things like in-house development and deployment, independent cloud service, the off-shelf purchase, and so on. So in this we have decided we will go for independent cloud service. This is the reason. I mean, we need not offload development and deployment completely. The reason is this: we are anyway going to continue having our cloud team. We are not going to get away from the cloud team that we are having. So the basic cloud team that we have been having, we will still continue to have them. So number two is save money on development and deployment. I mean, we don't want like to give away everything and also keep paying for development, deployment, migration, and things like that. So we want to save some fair amount of money, but at the same time, we also want a few things to be done by us, which we can pretty much support. For example, we are anyway planning to retain our cloud team. In that case, we want to avail the help of the team as well on certain aspects, and certain aspects probably we can save like on like platform, or probably your infrastructure and things like that. And next is easy integration. So this is really easy for us to integrate with independent cloud service with anything. And we don't need extensive niche skills for maintaining independent cloud service. Say for example, in-house development and deployment needs resources to have niche skills, and they have to be like very well trained in technology. They need to have extensive experience and things like that. But for us, we don't have such an extensive niche skill requirement. At the same time, we will still have our own team which could take care of development and deployment at some aspects. Yes. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Policies and agreement. So we all know, like once we are moving on to cloud, we decided we are going to move on to cloud. So what is the next step? I mean, our next step is basically our policies and agreement, and we need to make sure we are signing the right contracts, leases, and things like that. So these are the list of policies and agreements that we have in place. So number one is we want to have like monthly audit, and failure to comply will be like potential fines, obviously. And number two is Google provider has to notify potential threats within 30 minutes. Notifying on threats is a very, very important security aspect. And now that everything is going to be on cloud, we also are like very, very cautious about security. So we want threats and any kind of risks to be notified within 30 minutes. And usage reports and metrics needs to be published weekly, which will provide us an idea on like how much we have used so far, and how many consumers have actually hit our web page and things like that. And next is failure to comply with CAS security standards will be fined. And support should be available 24/7. We don't want like, these are basic that we are asking for, because without 24/7 support, if there is a problem, then we don't want like, people reach out to them at the exact hours. So this is one of our important agreements. And then backup of data on cloud for customer. For example, everything is on cloud, and if MAC Cosmetics is not going to have a backup, at some point we are going to be lost. We are like, what's going on? Somebody else is managing my data. I don't even have an idea what's going on. So backup data is very, very important for customers, and we have actually asked them to keep sending us backup data once in a fortnight. And next is compliance specialist documented all the contracts and pricing. So we have our compliance specialist exclusively work on this, so that we have them all documented and have like legals kind of review it. So okay, let me go to the next slide. Security and privacy. So now that we went through agreements, the next is like security and privacy. It's very important, right? So our first important aspect is the Okta Verify login, because we just don't want like everyone log in and should have any access. So we want to go through the Okta Verify login route, so that people that really have the permission to access can only access. And number two is PII data. If somebody for example, there's going to be a lot of communication, right? Like between customer and between the provider. So when somebody accidentally shares PII data on an email, an alert has to be triggered, so that people will be aware that there is a personal information that's kind of getting leaked, and they can do potential measures in stopping that or avoid it. And the next one is restricting access to employees that are not part of a module. Right, people come and go, and we don't want everyone to have access and they keep having access forever. So care must be taken that we need to delete or restrict access only for those that are actually part of the team. And next, legal policies to be signed for data breach. That's very important. We know so many stories Enron and other companies where there was a data breach and it was really nasty. So we want to have very tight policies for data breach, and our legal team and compliance team already worked on it very thoroughly. And next is selling data needs to be fined severely. For example, a provider, somebody that is working in the provider's company might sell data and they can make a lot of money, right? If in such scenarios, the fines has to be very, very, very severe, so that people will dare not do it. And the next one is business continuity planning needs to be established. So we already have a plan in place for our BCP, and our BCP team already worked really hard to provide us with all the details. So this has also been shared with our Google provider, and this will be established. And backup data is of course mandatory. They have to share the backup data with us. Google provider will be sharing the backup data to MAC Cosmetics, and they should also have their backup data stored in their cloud. All right, let me go to the next slide. Integrate with existing enterprise services. So integration means like we are integrating the provider system is getting integrated with MAC Cosmetics. So while we are integrating, there are like three important steps based on which we proceed with integration. Number one is registration of customer. So once we register the customer, the reason we are registering the customer is basically once you register, then that customer will be provided with a reporting information about the usage. So for whenever the customer is created, then they will have to, their ID will be a unique ID. So this is a unique token ID for customer registration. So once that ID is generated, then what the provider do is basically they have APIs for data processing and bell usage. So these APIs will run in the background and they will actually provide you with the bill. So that comes to the next step, actually you're reporting information about usage. So based on this bill and the usage, this reporting information about usage report will be generated and handle subscription event. Like for example, once the customer enrolls for handling subscription events, in future if they actually want to unsubscribe, they can actually go to this link and they can actually unsubscribe these events as well. So the minute they unsubscribe, what happens is like in 30 minutes to 1 hour, all their accounts will be closed and the provider will come up with the reporting information about usage and they just close all the contracts. So that is how it works. Let me go to the next slide. Proof of concept before moving to production. So proof of concept is the most important thing when it comes to moving to production, right? Because we don't want to be like sending something which is not validated. So we will be doing a proof of concept before moving to production. So these are the things that we will be doing as part of proof of concept. One is validate the communication of all applications that are migrated, that ought to be migrated. So that validation is very important because this is the one that's going to be moving. And number two is validate if Okta authentication happens. Because if that doesn't happen, anybody can actually access your pages, applications. And number three is validate the data quality of makeover applications, because the makeover application is what they want to, MAC Cosmetics would like to move. So they want to validate the data quality of that. And they also want to, the cloud team also wants to validate 24/7 support by raising different kinds of tickets and see if they are really responsive or not. And the next one is validate if the outage communications are kicking off when you're doing sample migrations. So because this outage communications and things have become very automatic, there should not be a problem, but still it's our duty to check it because most of our customers, it is not fair for them to not have an outage communication. And even for us, for the employees, if we are totally unaware of the outage, it's not good for us. Let me go to the next. Managing the cloud environment. So this is very important, right? It's not about just migrating to cloud. So we already finished migrating onto cloud. Once our POC, proof of concept, is completed, we migrated onto cloud. We are like super good. So okay, proof of concepts went well, and now we are doing the migration, and also the migration was successful. So with that, it's not ending. Actually, in fact, it's also the second half is beginning, where you have to manage the cloud environment. So in here, we want periodic reports and metrics just to ensure, like we are on the right track. And next, API management, cloud management, performance management, security management, networking management of Google providers needs to be understood, because you being a customer, it's extremely important for you to understand the system of the provider. So this is very, very critical for all the employees, or at least those employees that are involved in this, to be educated with all these different types of API, cloud management, performance management, and so on. And the next one is ensure the overall business flow happens seamlessly. That's very, very important, right? When everything else happens, but then when a customer is going to purchase something, the end-to-end flow is not happening, well, there is no point. I mean, your cloud migration is not successful then. So that's very important to make sure this is happening seamlessly. And downtimes needs to be revisited. So when there is a downtime, and there is a lot of downtime and things like that, we need to make sure, hey, why is this happening often? How can we reduce it and things like that? Let me go to the next slide. So now conclusion. So MAC Cosmetics' vision of cloud migration is very, very successful. And MAC Cosmetics will now be able to focus exclusively on their products, because now their only focus is products. Of course, this little cloud team will probably do some managing and do some technology work, but it's not going to be extensive. And number 3 is the company can save a lot of money on infrastructure, maintenance costs. When infrastructure and maintenance costs are gone, we also have few other things that are gone along with them, right? For example, we can avoid the hassle of procurement and licenses, your term licenses, your so many kinds of licenses are there, right? So we can actually avoid perpetual licenses, hardware license, software license. So the procurement, buying different things, or all, like, we can save all the money in there, and ensure the overall business flow is happening seamlessly. And the downtimes need to be revisited. So once the downtimes are revisited, you always have like a better system, so your system is good, and your technology is working really well. Your customers are having a great time. I mean, they don't even feel like, they are missing out on time, or your website is not working, I can't purchase. For example, this year, right, Costco had a huge loss on Thanksgiving because their system was not working, their load balancer was not working, and they had a downtime on Thanksgiving Day. So such things can be avoided with very upgraded technology and with the most up-to-date systems. So with all these things, I think MAC Cosmetics, with this cloud migration, they are it's going to be a huge value add for their company, and they can actually focus on what they wanted to accomplish. Thank you very much. So these are basically the references that I had. So do we have any questions? Please do let me know. Thank you so much, everyone.